Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Uh, I welcome all of you for today's inauguration of the exhibition, Bapu 150, Philatelic exhibition with collections of Mahatma Gandhi. The exhibition is brought in collaboration with India Post, Ministry of Communications, Government of India, and Karnataka Philatelic Society. As the distinguished guest for today's evening, we have with us Dr.Nataraj Huliyar, Director, Center for Gandhian Studies, Bangalore University. We have Mr. Sudhakar Rao, Chairman, Advisory Committee, NGMA Bengaluru. We have K. Chaitanya Dev, President, Karnataka Philatelic Society. We have Mr. Subarna Patro, Curator, NGMA Bengaluru. And also we have Colonel Arvind Verma, Chief Postmaster General, Karnataka HQ region. I welcome the dignitaries to please come up on the stage and start the inaugural ceremony by lighting the lamp. I now request Curator Mr. Subarna Patro to give the welcome address.
Good evening, dear friends. A warm welcome to one and all for today's inauguration of exhibition Bapu 150, Philatelic exhibition with collectibles of Mahatma Gandhi, celebrating 150th anniversary of Mahatma Gandhi, which will be celebrated throughout the year. I welcome all the dignitaries. All are seated on the dais for their gracious presence. Dr.Nataraj Huliyar, Director Center for Gandhian Studies, Bangalore University, Dr. Charles Lobo, Chief Postmaster General, Karnataka Circle, Mr. Sudhakar Rao, Chairman Advisory Committee, NGMA Bangalore, and Mr. Chaitanya Dev, President, Karnataka Philatelic Society, Bangalore, and also all the philatelists and members of KPS. The exhibition features many philatelic display for the eminent philatelists on the Gandhi themes. The exhibition will take you through Mahatma Gandhi's life using philatelic material, all stamps, stationeries, and all other postal items. I am sure this exhibition will be a great experience as it refers to the collection, appreciation, and research activities on stamp and other philatelist products. I congratulate all the philatelists for their willingness and participation for these exhibitions. I once again welcome all and all present here. Thank you.
I now request the curator to welcome the guests by honoring them by giving a bouquet and a small souvenir item to them. Thank you, sir. Now we will have the special cover release by Chief Postmaster General, Karnataka Circle. I now request the Chief Postmaster to say a few words on this occasion regarding the exhibition and the special cover release.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Sri Sudhakar Rao, Chairman, Advisory Committee, NGMA, Bangalore. Dr. Nataraj Huliyar, Director, Center for Gandhian Studies. Mr. Arvind, Postmaster General, and other guests on the dais, Mr. Patro, Curator, NGMA Bangalore, and friends. we had released one special cover here on 2nd. This special cover is different because this commemorates the Philately exhibition with collectibles on Mahatma Gandhi. This exhibition we will be inaugurating today. This will be on from 6th to 23rd. And the entire collection is on Gandhi. I have exhibited one frame, 16 sheets on Gandhi. The way it is used is different. For example, one exhibitor will use Gandhi to say that he is the father of the nation. That is his story. The other will use Gandhi to show that he is a martyr, to show the sacrifice. That is his story. So every exhibit is a story. To put it in a simple way, if it is a one frame exhibit, it is a 16-page book which is kept open for you for reading. And how to see the Philatelic exhibition? Philatelic exhibition is nothing but a story of 16 pages or 16 into multiples, 16 into 2, 32 pages, or maximum is 5 frames, 80 pages. So when you read a book, you don't read the book from page 1 to 5 to 10 to 20. You don't understand the story. So if you have to understand the exhibit, then you have to read from page number 1 to page number 16 carefully. Then only you understand the story, what this person is trying to tell. The exhibit is a science actually, because there are some principles to be followed. The first sheet will tell you what is the theme, what this person is trying to display, and the first sheet will also have the index. It says in the index, my first sheet says this, second sheet says this, third sheet says this, like this. So first you read the first page, and after that, then you start going through that exhibit 2, 3, 4, 5. Then only you can understand an exhibit. Otherwise, everywhere you see Gandhi only. So you don't understand why this person is showing Gandhi everywhere. Sometimes you see a cover where there is Gandhi. Sometimes you find a stamp. There is no Gandhi on the cover, but there is a stamp on Gandhi. On a third cover, you may not find Gandhi on the cover or in the stamp, but in the cancellation. So you have to see where is Gandhi and for what purpose that material is used. That shows the creativity and the innovativeness of the philatelist who has prepared this exhibit. So the Gandhi exhibition itself is very interesting because all the participants have tried to project Gandhi in their own style. And this is nothing but a book exhibition on Gandhi, to put it that way. This is not a stamp exhibition. This is a illustrated book exhibition, and the illustrations are Gandhi. That is, in a simple way, the definition of a philatelic exhibition. So I am sure you will all enjoy this exhibition in the next 15 days. Please see that and please tell others also. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. And I will request Chairman Advisory Committee NGMA Bengaluru to give his address.
Very good namaskara. A very good evening to you, and as always, a very warm welcome to NGMA. As students growing up, philately was a great sort of hobby among all of us. We would sort of look at the Illustrated Weekly of India regularly because every week they would have a printout of 4 stamps and give the history or the background of those stamps. We would all be collecting stamps, some very ordinary, some very precious ones. Pen friends across the continents were very important because they would then send letters which would have fancy stamps in them which would be collecting. In fact, it was around mid-19th century, around 1850s, that philately became a major subject or a major area of study, a major collection. And I was reading some material on this stuff this evening, and I was sort of astonished to find that the original name for philately was Trimbomanie, Timbromanie. And a gentleman by the name Georges Urpin, who was himself a philatelist, thought that this name didn't do the science or the practice justice, and changed it to philately, which is based on a French etymology. So it was around the 1860s that the postal service as we know it now got established. Till then, of course, I mean, there were postal services were there all along. The Rajas had their own communication systems. But it was in the 1860s, I think, to be very precise, 1st May 1840 rather, that the penny black showing Queen Victoria, profile of Queen Victoria was brought out. That 1 penny stamp is today generally worth, depending on its condition, between 2 lakh to 4 lakh. And the postal department, till then, if you were to receive the post, you had to pay for the postage. But with the postal service, the modern day postal service established, the receiver was no longer having to pay the postal charges, but the person who was sending it, that is the modern system, was introduced. And of course, we all, I don't know how many of you have seen a movie called Charade, which had Audrey Hepburn, I think, and I forget that gentleman's name, that famous actor, where the entire story is about how a set of criminals are trying to steal a very, very valuable item. And in the end turns out that that item is a very small stamp, but worth millions of dollars in weight. Of course, the whole thing is fiction, but just goes to say how much of role stamps had to play in our lives. But on 21st November 1947, the first stamp of independent India was released, and the subject was the Indian flag flying high with Jai Hind written on it, and the princely sum that the stamp cost was 3.5 annas. That's about 1/5 of a rupee then. The first one on Gandhi came on the 15th of August 1948. And of course, since then there have been so many stamps, so many first day covers on the Mahatma. In fact, on his 100th birth anniversary, as many as 40 countries issued stamps. In all, so far, about 100 countries have brought out stamps on the Mahatma, and more than 300 stamps have been issued outside of the country celebrating this extraordinary human being who walked in India. What I wanted to say was that 2 of the famous Gandhian quotations that most of us have heard are, one, of course, he said, "No culture can live if it attempts to be exclusive." Something I think that we in India need to understand, need to practice, particularly today. And the second one is, I do not want my house to be rounded by walls and my windows to be closed to other cultures. I wish to become familiar with the culture of lands as much as possible, but I will not permit them to affect me or shake me from my very own status. Now, I'm mentioning this because, in its own way, collecting stamps did exactly that. We used to have stamps from it used to be from which country we have stamps. The idea was to have as many countries represented in our stamp collection as possible. And as a result, we would learn about those countries, the peoples of those countries, the big leaders of these countries, just as, Mahatma Gandhi's stamp would come out in some other country, and I'm sure the stamp collectors there would get familiar with his works. So it was indeed. So the stamp and the collection of stamps, the philately, the science of philately itself was a wonderful way of knowing different cultures, of knowing different countries, and assimilating it within yourself. It's a pity, of course, that with technology, stamps and the stamp collection has lost the kind of prominence it once had. But Mr. Dev assures me that stamp collectors are not a dying breed. They may have become a smaller breed, but they have now become more serious collectors, collecting very, very high value, rare stamps from all over the world. So I think NGMA is extremely happy that not only are we celebrating the Mahatma and his 150th anniversary by having this exhibition, but also in our own way helping the entire science of stamp collection of philately by having this exhibition. My special thanks are to Mr. Lobo, who has been extremely helpful, extremely willing to come forward and help us in the, collaborating, and Mr. Arvind, who last time gave a very eloquent speech on Gandhi and what he stood for. And enjoy the exhibition as and when we get a chance to go across. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. I now request our chief guest, Dr. Nataraj, to come and say a few words on this occasion.
ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. I'm very happy to be a part of this historic occasion. Dignitaries on the dais and friends. The envelope which the postal department has brought out today has 3 different images of Gandhi which reflect his personality and his struggle. The first one is the walking Gandhi, Ekla Chalo, walk alone. The other one is the charka, which changed the way Gandhi would theorize and think. The other one is the meditative, the writer Gandhi. I congratulate the postal department for this meaningful envelope on your behalf and Center for Gandhian Studies, Bangalore University. In fact, I was also a part of an envelope release function on the occasion of Gandhi's commemoration of 100th year of Gandhi's visit to Bangalore. We had a bigger occasion then at Central College. I remember it, and I bought many of them and sent to many of my friends. I still use postal surveys, and I'm one of those rare species who still uses them. And I also thank the postal department for reaching Gandhi's postcards to nook and corner of this country, which many people very fondly preserved for several decades. I have heard and I've read it in many literary works that there were runners who would take those postcards across, because Gandhi mentions postcards on and on. He receives postcards and he would write them. So time has also come to revive the postal department, which is doing such a yeoman service, because only the postal department has the legacy to bring out this envelope, and also it has the right to do it, and it is now duty bound to do it. I congratulate them once again. We all know Gandhi was born 150 years ago, but if we look at his epoch-making personality, Gandhi was not born 150 years ago, but he went on being reborn on and on in his lifetime and also later. Very recently, I was reading a Kannada poem by Savita Nagbhushan, who says Gandhi was born. She raises a question in the beginning of the poem and says, where was Gandhi born? Gandhi was born in South Africa, in Martinsburg Station, is the second line of the poem. In fact, I got the cue and went on thinking about what the poet said, and try to think of Gandhi on those lines. It's true, Mahatma was born then when he was pushed out of the railway compartment, when he was asked to go to the van compartment. That is the first occasion where he felt what it is to be not a colored man. And he, felt the pangs of pain of the untouchables in India. When Gandhi was refused to be given a haircut by a white hairdresser, Gandhi felt very bad, but said, if you remember, yes, this is the reward for me for treating our own brethren at home, untouchables, like this. So it changed the way Gandhi would think and the way Gandhi would work thereafter. I think then the social reformer Gandhi was born. Came back to, stayed in South Africa, led the Indians there, and he experimented civil disobedience there, and it actually clicked. Because he didn't know, he had thought of another word, Satyagraha, later turned it into Satyagraha. It worked there, and there the greatest philosopher of 20th century, 19th century philosopher of civil disobedience was born, because Thoreau had already worked out civil disobedience, but Gandhi led it in a massive level, and this is where another Gandhi was born. When Gandhi had an occasion to read Unto This Last, an activist who would think of the last person in the society was born. That's the rebirth of Gandhi. When Gokhale asked Gandhiji to go across India and to see for himself what real India is, Gandhi, if you all remember, Gandhi, travels third class to know the real India, and then he understands the kind of violence that the colonizer has done to our villages. That is where he made that famous statement, India lives in our villages. Later, Gandhi thought of having an ashram, Satyagraha ashram at Khosraw, and he actually wanted to present a new kind of community life, a secular kind of community life in India, which was caste-ridden, which was varna-ridden, which was which had all sorts of prejudices. So he thought of ashram. He invoked the idea of ashram from ancient India. And I'll just mention what happened in a Kochra Satyagraha ashram. The ashram was run by donors. All of a sudden, an untouchable family comes there and decides to stay there. Gandhi welcomes them. The inmates would sneer at them. Gandhi and the donors of the ashram would say, we will not donate anything to you if you have the untouchables. Gandhi says, if that is the case, I will leave the ashram, go live with the Harijans, and would not want your donation. That is where another Gandhi was born. When Gandhi led the Dandi March, if you remember, 78 people set out from the ashram for this great march, historic march. People discuss about Mao's long march. This is a real historic march because it invoked the kind of the spirit of freedom which others could not till then. So several thousands of them walked along with Gandhi, only said, one step enough for me. It's a famous line from a poem, I suppose, one step enough for me. People, would go on joining him, and by the time they reached Dandi, it was several thousands that accompanied Gandhi. Gandhi made salt along with them, and real activist and resistant Gandhi was born then. Gandhi fasted. Gandhi had satyagrahas. When Gandhi fasted, he introspected. When actually, Gandhi was sent to jail after the Dandi Satyagraha, when he was arrested, Gandhi said, I'm very happy I could catch up with the sleep which I've missed for several days. Yet that kind of humor, sense of humor, only Gandhi, if you've seen the photographs of Gandhi, only Gandhi could smile like that. The kind of innocence, you see in his smile, which many of us may not be able to, have. So this is how, in the fast, also Gandhi was one. I think Gandhi made one important mistake when, he fasted during the Pune Pact. That's a historic, historic mistake. Let us agree, but let us not beat Gandhi using the Pune Pact, because Gandhi was trying to correct, the Savarnas. Gandhi was trying to educate Indians, where Ambedkar was waging another struggle. Gandhi was actually complementary to what Ambedkar was doing. So what we see in later decades discourse is to make protagonists and antagonists of Gandhi and Ambedkar. I think time has come to bury that debate and see what Gandhi did to the Dalits, the marginalized, and the subaltern and women overall. So whenever India is in trouble, whenever the world is in trouble, whenever the world has exhausted, many of the means to resist or protest, it has remembered Gandhi. Even a modern day politician like Arvind Kejriwal, he had to remember Gandhi when he waged a war against corruption. So, Gandhi has been remembered throughout when Martin Luther King, was all set to use violence. When blacks were angry, they were supposed to, they were up in arms, they were to use violence, but they would have been crushed. Martin Luther King Jr. learned a lesson from Gandhi and led that struggle. Later, Nelson Mandela, if you remember, Nelson Mandela was into guerrilla fight. He went to Bolivia. He was trained in armaments, but when he came back, he had to follow the Gandhian path. He chose the Gandhian path, and he later, would remember what Gandhi did in South Africa. When later Aung San Suu Kyi had to lead a struggle in Burma, she once again invoked, Gandhi. So it's only to remind you that whenever we are in trouble and alone, we recall Gandhi. ನಿಮ್ಮ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಒಂದು ದೊಡ್ಡ ಸಮೂಹ ಇಲ್ಲದಿದ್ದಾಗಲೂ, ನಿಮ್ಮ ಬೆಂಬಲಕ್ಕೆ ಶಸ್ತ್ರಾಸ್ತ್ರಗಳು ಇಲ್ಲದಿದ್ದಾಗಲೂ, ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಬ್ಬನ ಅಂತರಂಗದಲ್ಲಿ ವ್ಯವಸ್ಥೆಯನ್ನು ಎದುರಿಸುವ ಒಂದಲ್ಲ ಒಂದು ಶಕ್ತಿ ಇದೆ ಎನ್ನುವುದನ್ನು ಗಾಂಧಿ ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ತೋರಿಸಿದರು. This is the weapon Gandhi gave us. So whenever I'm afraid of the system, whenever I have to face the system or establishment, it could be a minister or a prime minister, or it could be anybody, Gandhi tells me, you're alone, but you have the strength to take on this establishment. That is the kind of strength everybody looks for in Gandhi, and Gandhi has given it to us. And Gandhi continues to grow as we grow. As we mellow down, Gandhi once again comes to us. And I think at each stage of life, we discover Gandhi, rediscover Gandhi, especially in the days of mass violence today, the kind of blind violence that is unleashed by the communal forces and ideological forces, and then, religious forces. I think we have to once again go back to Gandhi and understand the primary lessons of ahimsa, which he taught. Gandhi said, ahimsa is not the ideology of the weak, it is the ideology of the strong. Only the strong can forgive, not the weak. This is what Gandhi said. I'm fortunate enough, to be the director of the Gandhian Studies, where I started reading Gandhi. Again, I end my note reading this. This is the last but one. I think it's very relevant today. My notion of democracy, Indian democracy, is at peril today. My notion of democracy is that under it, the weakest should have the same opportunity as the strongest. So unto this last, it is not survival of the fittest. A democracy should think of, democracy should always think of the survival of the weakest. So this is what we, distribute to the students we come to our Gandhian Studies. This is Gandhi's famous statement and talisman. All of you learned people sitting here would have read this, but I read it again for you. Whenever you are in doubt, somebody was in doubt and he asked Gandhi as to what he should do. Gandhi said, it's a very famous statement, all of us are familiar with it. I'm only reading it again. I will give you a talisman. Talisman is something you tie around here. I will give you a talisman. Whenever you are in doubt or when the self becomes too much with you, apply the following test. Recall the face of the poorest and the weakest man whom you may have seen and ask yourself, if the step you contemplate is going to be of any use to him, will he gain anything by it? Will it restore him to a control over his own life and destiny? In other words, will it lead to Swaraj for the hungry and spiritually starving millions? Then you will find your doubts and yourself melting away. This is the best antidote to extreme individualism, losing oneself, within oneself. So Gandhi said, then you will find your doubts and yourself melting away. ನಿನಗೊಂದು ತಾಯಿತ ಕೊಡುತ್ತೇನೆ. ನಿನಗೆ ಅನುಮಾನವಿದ್ದಾಗ ಅಥವಾ ನಿನ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ನೀನೆ ಅತಿಯಾಗಿ ಮುಳುಗಿ ಹೋಗಿದ್ದಾಗ ನಿನಗೆ ನೀನೇ ಈ ಪರೀಕ್ಷೆ ಮಾಡಿಕೊ. ನೀನು ನೋಡಿರುವ ಕಡು ಬಡವನನ್ನ ಅತ್ಯಂತ ದುರ್ಬಲ ಮನುಷ್ಯನನ್ನು ನೆನೆಸಿಕೊ. ನಿನ್ನನ್ನು ನೀನೇ ಕೇಳಿಕೊ. ನೀನು ಈಗ ಇಡಬೇಕೆಂದುಕೊಂಡಿರುವ ಹೆಜ್ಜೆಯಿಂದ ಅವನಿಗೆ ಏನಾದರೂ ಉಪಯೋಗವಿದೆಯೇ? ಅವನು ಅದರಿಂದ ಏನನ್ನಾದರೂ ಪಡೆಯಬಲ್ಲನೆ? ಅದು ಅವನನ್ನು ತನ್ನ ಬದುಕಿನ ಮೇಲೆ ಹಾಗೂ ತನ್ನ ವಿಧಿಯ ಮೇಲೆ ನಿಯಂತ್ರಣ ಸಾಧಿಸುವಂತಹ ಶಕ್ತಿ ತುಂಬಬಲ್ಲದೆ? ಅಂದರೆ ನೀನು ಇಡಬೇಕೆಂದು ಯೋಚಿಸುತ್ತಿರುವ ಈ ಹೆಜ್ಜೆ ಹಸಿದವರಿಗೆ ಹಾಗೂ ಚೈತನ್ಯ ಬತ್ತಿದ ಲಕ್ಷಾಂತರ ಜನರಿಗೆ ಸ್ವರಾಜ್ಯವನ್ನು ತಂದುಕೊಡಬಲ್ಲದೆ? ಈ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆಗಳನ್ನು ನಿನಗೆ ನೀನೇ ಕೇಳಿಕೊಂಡರೆ ಸಾಕು. ನಿನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಅನುಮಾನಗಳು ಹಾಗೂ ನಿನ್ನ ಸ್ವಕೇಂದ್ರಿತತೆಯು ಕರಗಿ ಹೋಗುವುದನ್ನು ನೀನೇ ಕಾಣುವೆ. ಇದು ಗಾಂಧಿ ಹೇಳಿದ ಅದ್ಭುತವಾದ ಒಂದು ಮಾತು. ನಾವು ಇದನ್ನು ನೆನಪಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಇಡೋಣ. ವಿಲ್ ರಿಮೆಂಬರ್ ಇಟ್ ಫಾರ್ ಎವರ್. We may be playing several roles. We may be economists or a politician or an officer or a teacher or a painter, but we should remember what Gandhi said. Think of the lost, think of the weakest. Swaraj did not only mean Swaraj during colonialism. Gandhi meant Swaraj is to rule oneself, to control oneself. So the unleashing of violence in society is also because people have lost self-control. I think not because I had a Gandhian Studies Center. I deeply believe, I think there is no other solution to the kind of violence that India is witnessing today. No solution other than ahimsa to me today. Thank you.
On behalf of National Gallery of Modern Art, I now present vote of thanks. Firstly, I would thank all the dignitaries on stage for their presence and making this event a success. Our thanks to India Post, Karnataka Philatelic Society, and their staff and members for their support. Our sincere acknowledgement to Sri Advaita Gadnayak, Director General, National Gallery of Modern Art, Sri Sudhakar Rao, Chairman Advisory Committee NGMA Bengaluru, and all the members of the Advisory Committee for their support. We'd also like to thank Ministry of Culture, Government of India for their support, advice, guidance, and patronage to NGMA Bengaluru. Would like to thank my dear colleagues and all the other staff members of NGMA Bengaluru for their extraordinary commitment.
Who will explain? Yes. What I'm going to show in this interview. So, frame one, frame two, frame. No. This is how I'm explaining this. Yeah. What is it says? Okay. Narayana Satyagraha has been a great inspiration.